Welcome. Today I'm documenting a bit of an experiment. It's time for me to bind a journal that I've been working on for a while, and I put together this fabric covered cardboard that I taped together with my trusty medical tape, and I knew that the cardboard still showed through, so I made these panels that I'm going to attach, but I'm going to wait till the end because I don't want them to get wrecked while I'm struggling to bind this, because it is quite thick cardboard. Anyways, the method that I'm going to be attempting to do is sort of a amalgamation of different techniques that I've seen or heard of or read about, and that is that I ultimately want to, I've got 3 signatures, so I want to attach them to this and see if I can make it work like that by tying it in. I mean, also gluing the back, but having the, instead of poking holes all the way through this here. So what I did is, after I put the fabric on, I just cut some paper and I used double sticky tape on 3 sides, and I left this side open. I also left this a little bit longer than the edge of the page so that it extends in. I'm not sure if I'm going to end up having to trim that or not, but you can kind of see what that effect is there, where it slides towards the middle. I think that might be helpful with the gap for when the pages are in. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens. So the first thing I did is I got this little strip of very thin cardstock, and I marked out the places where I want to sew through for each signature, and it's time to make holes with the awl. So let's see if the awl can poke through this. Well, I mean, it has gone through, so I think it's safe to say I could do the rest without you having to watch. Okay, all done making holes. The only note I will make is that in addition to poking the hole downwards, I also lifted it up and made sure to push the awl all the way through each hole so that it's actually a full and open hole, so that when I do get to sewing, it'll be nice and easy. Now I'm making a little guide so I can make corresponding holes in the signatures of my journal. So I'm going to take just the middle row, or an end row, just one row, and I'm going to line it up along this paper, little scrap of paper. And use a pencil and just trace one row of the holes. And if they don't quite line up, I'm just going to redraw along this fold that I made. All right. And the marks have to be on the crease because I'm going to be using a book when I push the awl through. right, this little Reader's Digest Select Editions from 2001 serves as my base for when I punch holes through my signatures. And I'm going to trim this. Oh, actually it is the exact right size. If it wasn't the right size, I would trim it down so that it did match the exact right size. What I am going to do though, because I don't want my signatures shifting around on me, is I'm going to use paper clips, big giant ones. And now for the since this is lined up to each edge of the paper, it's not really going to shift around, so I'm not as worried about securing it. I just want to make sure that I poke my hole really good right in the spot where the dot is. And because my signature is bigger than the book that I'm using underneath it, I have to shift it as I go. One other thing that I want to keep in mind is that since this is not necessarily even, because I did not measure it out that way, I want to make sure all the signatures are punched the same way. So I'm going to just write a little T right here on the top of my template so I don't flip it around and accidentally mark one of my signatures upside down. So that's the top. And I'll punch the other. I had to take a quick break to buy some thread because I didn't have any that was fine enough for what I wanted to do. I don't want it to be so obtrusive, and all I had was thick twine, which is not that pleasant. So I'm going to be using this lace yarn. It's thicker than sewing thread and thinner than yarn and twine. Okay, so I'm making an educated guess that it'll be easier to do the center signature first, and since I don't want the knot at the end to show in my journal, I'm going to make it hidden, so I'm starting from the back side. Oops. And I have way more yarn than I need. I mean, yeah, thread, yarn. Way more string than I need at the moment, but I don't want to keep rethreading the needle. So I'm starting like this, and because I want this to be the side that my journal lines up against, I'm going to sew through the center here. Now, before I started, I made sure that I have all my pages secure so they don't shift around. And let's see. Is this the correct way to line it up? Yeah. All right. Pulling it all the way tight. And I'm going to go all the way up. that, but it's actually quite sharp too. So that is just how I want it lined up. And now I'm going to go back to the middle. Of course, it got stuck on something. I think just to be extra secure, I'm going to go through one more time. Down to the bottom. Oops. And then up to the top. Doubled up. I wanted to make sure I pulled the doubled end out so that I only have the single. Okay, so now I'm going to pull it tight, both of these ends here, and I'm going to tie a knot in the middle. And once I finish with this, I'm going to trim it down and probably tape the edges so that they stay put. So, but that can wait until I've got the other two signatures in. I don't want to gunk up this backside with tape and stuff too much. Okay, so I'm going to do the next two off camera and show you where I'm at after that. All right, I've attached all the signatures, and I opted to just triple knot them and not put tape because I was afraid tape would interfere with the gluing that I'm doing. And I put what I hope is a sufficient amount of glue both here on this spine and also on the interior cover spine. And now I'm just going to place it lined up where I want it to be. And I'm going to washi tape this to each signature so that it should bend, but the final step is tying the ribbon. This should hopefully keep it in place while the glue dries, and also I can either make a bow or add some more elements. Anyways, that's it. Please watch the flip through to see the final outcome. Thank you for watching. Happy crafting.